Do you want to trade in your used fitness or sports equipment? How about sports apparel? All your answers are at Play It Again Sports in Grand Island, where you can trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
Welcome back to End Zone Online. I'm George Ayoub with my buddy Bobby Mills, the 1,000-yard guy. We're at Memorial Stadium in Grand Island, where we'll be covering the Grand Island Central Catholic Milford football game this Friday night. Rob Misek and I will have the call. We'll be on the air at 6:45. Right now on End Zone Online, brought to you by Play It Again Sports. We're going to talk about some local teams having a tough Friday last week. It's as tough as we've seen with the four local high schools. We will pick a player of the week, and we're going to talk a little bit about some upcoming games. But first of all, 193-32, the four games put together. Really a tough weekend for the four Grand Island teams.
Yes, as you say, I don't remember a beatdown like that as far as points go, but they played some pretty good teams.
They did. They did. Let's go through this. Omaha West Side, who the Journal Star has number one. Yes. Stu in the World Herald has them two. They're leading the power points. Beat the Islanders 45-13. They did it in a number of different ways, but they came out on fire. Got way up, and I think the Islanders had a tough time playing from behind.
They did, and Lane Yates, you know, their leading back was missing, but they just plugged in the Fitzmaurice kid. And, you know, Coach Tomlin said, I'll take the blame for it, but Westside was just a better team that night. That's all there is to it. It's all right.
A good team, and, you know, Westside's program's been building to a team like this.
Yes, it has.
And you put Yates back in the mix. I look for Westside to be there right at the end.
They will be. They're playing tough right now. They're one of the elite teams in A.
Again, you know, injuries always are an issue, but they're going to be a tough team. A game that Rob and I covered Friday night, homecoming and the 50-year anniversary of Northwest High School. The Vikings ran into a really well-prepared McCook team, 41-13 the final. Couple of impressions that I had. Rob and I talked about this on the air. McCook let them catch the ball in space and then tackled very well.
Yep, that's Jeff Gross' team for you there, right there.
Tackled very well, and they three terrific backs, two of them over 100 yards. The Sis, Colton Sis, and Maston, excuse me, and Colton Stone.
Right.
Really good backs, big kids.
They are big.
Big kids, and the line was really sharp all night. So, you know, I saw Coach Stein on Saturday, and he just said, you know, they just had a good game plan and they executed it, and so you know. They're heading out to Lexington, a 1-2 team, who have played. They got the win over Gering last week, and they played Scottsbluff and York pretty tough.
They really did.
So they're an improved program out there. So the Vikings are going to have to strap it on, and they don't want to go 1-3, and they're now at 1-2.
No, it should be a good football game, evenly matched. McCook's going to be better down the road. They're just going to get better and better. Yeah, they were good. I should mention that Grand Island also has a tough game this week. They're heading up to Norfolk, averaging 47 points a game, and they're 3-0 at their place. I just talked to Coach Shadwinkle, the defensive coordinator for the Islanders, just before we came on the air here, and he said that they always are tough offensively. They're just really hard to prepare for because they mix it up. Their play calling is really hard to get a handle on. So that'll be a tough matchup for the Islanders. You know, Tom Olson's a good coach, and you know Taylor Reedy, we don't know if he's going to be able to play quarterback this week. Hurt an ankle against Kearney, so they plug in Gunnar Fieldberth, a sophomore quarterback, and he had 270 yards, completed 75% of his passes against Fremont. So, you know, that's just the way they do it up there.
They really did. So a tough matchup for the Islanders. Central Catholic is going to try to rebound from a 45-0 loss here at Memorial Stadium last Friday night to a really tough David City Aquinas team, who the week before was shut out themselves, I believe, or beaten 21-3 or
21-0.
21-0. So a real turnaround for Aquinas on that, but Central Catholic surprised me they didn't get any points on the board.
Well, I guess they had a bad week of practice, and it's just one of those things where nothing worked, and they were, you know, the other team prepared
better than Central Catholic did.
Right.
They'll get it back together this week, and Minden, whom they beat badly the week before, they won and played a great game, had a 200-yard rusher. Things will get better for them.
And so they're going to play Milford here, as we said, 7 o'clock at Memorial Stadium. Milford, I was having trouble getting the stats because they hadn't updated them on NSAA. 1-1 on the season. They got beat by Ashland Greenwood.
Who's a good team.
Good team.
Yep.
Yep. Very good team.
Marty Hingst has been there for 35 years, and sometimes when guys get a little older, they don't like to give those stats out, but he always brings big kids in, and they'll play you a tough game, very physical.
Yeah, Milford's always had a good running ground
game. They have,
always
absolutely.
had a good ground game. And then our friends down at Heartland Lutheran, Lawrence Nelson, just shellacked them, but they're going to shellack a lot of people this year. Lawrence Nelson, a tough team, 62-6 the final.
Very well
there.
coached.
Yep, they're going to play a 3-0 Nebraska Lutheran team, and that's going to be a tough matchup.
They're better than I thought. Yeah.
And they haven't played a team that's won a game, but I think Nebraska Lutheran's going to end up having a pretty good season. I mean, they already started 3-0. So, as we've said on this program every week, the Hornets down there, they are running into a buzzsaw, it seems like, every week. They're not going to get a break here for a couple of weeks. So they're matched up against Nebraska Lutheran. So that's what happened over in a tough Friday night.
Tough Friday night in Grand Island.
Tough Friday night. We'll be back after the break here, and a word from Play It Again Sports. Talk about the Player of the Week and some big games coming up. This is George Ayoub with Bobby Mills on theindependent.com for Endzone Online.
Golf, baseball, softball, fitness, soccer, you name it, Play It Again Sports in Grand Island has got it. Stop by to buy, sell, or trade used fitness equipment. Trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
Okay, we are back here at Memorial Stadium in Grand Island. George Ayoub and Bobby Mills. This is Endzone Online on theindependent.com. Bobby, Aurora, 3-0. They're ranked second in the World Herald rankings and Stu's rankings, number 1 in the PowerPoints. They are really off to a great start.
They are. They're just playing that basic football. Remember, they returned almost their entire backfield, but they've got linemen. They're well coached, and they had a tough game against Seward, but pulled it out by playing a few trick plays,
right.
but they know how to do it.
Well, it tells you something when you get behind and they're able to come back on a good team.
Exactly right.
Team.
Seward is a good team this year.
We have, and then you saw Boone Central beat Norfolk Catholic. Boone Central, of course, leading the state in PowerPoints and in the rankings in C1. They are really tough.
They're well coached, and they know how to win. That when Tanner Mazur graduated last year, I knew this Wyatt Mazur, his little brother, was good. He hasn't lost a step what Tanner did.
Right.
He is just explosive and knows how to win. They just put the whole game on his back, and he carries them, but that's a complete football team.
They've been through a really tough part of the schedule. How do you keep those kids motivated?
They will. They'll be motivated, George.
That'll be one of the tricks.
That is a key. 4 number 1 teams fell last week. And you have to keep your composure and not read the papers too much, not what we write or talk about. You got to stay focused, and that's what they do up at Boone Central.
Exactly.
They're going to stay focused.
We have some terrific area C2 teams. Donovan Trumbull got the revenge win against Blue Hill.
Saw that one.
Sutton beats Centura.
Tough game, though.
Tough game, though.
Tough
game. And then with Hastings St. Cecilia, quietly, they're 8th in the C2 ratings. They're high in the PowerPoints. Carl has them going again. That's a good team over there as well.
They might be better than you think, or better than I thought anyway. They're playing good football.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are paying attention to Sutton and Donovan Trumbull, and they're a little bit under the radar. They're going to be there right at the end again.
Oh, you bet they will.
Yeah. And then in D2, we're stacked. Fullerton, Shelton, and Giltner. Giltner lost that opening week game, but just know Jeff Ashby's going to have them ready. So 3 good teams. Fullerton plays Shelton this week.
That's what a great game up there, right?
Yeah, we'll just segue into that. Who are you going to see this week?
Well, either Fullerton or Shelton, and then down the road in Clark's, where High Plains plays their games, it'll be Howells Dodge and High Plains. But Fullerton-Shelton looks like and Fullerton's had a week off to prepare. So
should be a good one.
Should be a head knocker.
Should be a terrific game. So time to let you know who our Player of the Week is, and Bobby's going to do the honors.
George, I'm going to pick Brock Reichert from Aurora in that 25-10 victory over Seward. He noticed that the linebackers were flowing to the right when they ran their pitch play, so he suggested to his coach that they call a halfback pass. Bingo, 24-yard touchdown pass, which put them ahead for good.
To stay.
Had 118 yards rushing, plugged the middle as a linebacker, kicked an extra point, and probably drove the team bus back. So Brock Reichert did
Brock
everything.
Reichert is going to be our player of the week, not only for his legs and his toughness, but his brains as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, coach might want to just maybe give him a little maybe a little bonus or
Might
something.
wanna call
just
the plays
assistance.
next week.
So we're gonna get a. We're being attacked here
That
by
isn't the
geese.
teacher's lounge. That's not, the noise isn't from the
that's
teacher's lounge.
attacked
over
by
there.
geese here. We're going to get a frame certificate over to Brock at Aurora High School, and congratulations to him. Just a reminder, End Zone Online brought to you by Play It Again Sports. Tom Dinsdale Automotive is going to bring us live high school football Friday night. Rob Misek and I have the call here at Memorial Stadium. Grand Island Central Catholic and the Milford Eagles will tee it up at 7 o'clock. We'll be on the air 6:45. For my buddy Bobby Mills, I'm George Ayoub. This has been End Zone Online on theindependent.com.
Do you want to trade in your used fitness or sports equipment? How about sports apparel? All your answers are at Play It Again Sports in Grand Island, where you can trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.